Yes.
Yes.
Gallagher, we do have a quorum.
Okay.
Okay.
It's streaming. Streaming.
First docket hearing, are we hearing, Councilman Brancatelli's hearing first? We are.
Mr. Dank, you'll need to read the preamble on the screen.
You want me to read the whole preamble?
Yes, sir.
In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law under COVID-19 emergency declaration, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking or making a comment. The raised hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen.
I dialed in with the number and I hear everything. I don't have a screen.
Somebody's breaking up, and then I can introduce the first docket.
Mr. Chairman, Patricia McGinty, Aston City, Cleveland Law Department, on behalf of the City of Building and Housing and Fire, we're going to object to the use of the chat. I believe it broke up, but I believe you had a quorum. You had all 4 sitting members. And I'm going to ask that someone independently verify that this is live streaming as required under the Ohio Attorney General's mandate in March, issued in his ruling and his opinion, as well as the requirements under the Ohio Public Records Open Meetings Law. Thank you. I will have 2 other matters I did tell Mr. Runes about for specific objections. Thank you.
I can attest that the meeting is being live streamed on YouTube. Mr. Malone, can you attest that the stream is on TV 20?
It is.
Thank you. Mr. Dank?
Does that fulfill the requirement? Yes. Am I to proceed with the first docket?
Yes, sir.
And Councilman Brancatelli is present?
Yes, I am.
Yes, he is.
Okay, it's docket A 37519, 6010 Fleet Avenue. Swear in all participating members. At this time, solemnly swear the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I do.
Mr. Dank, we have a Pindo with their hand raised. Can we help you?
Maurice, we're going to go to docket 375. It's going to be further down.
Okay, this is, we're seeing the pictures on the docket at this time?
No, I'm just getting to the appropriate case.
Oh, okay.
The applications and fees are in order.
Notice of violation is interior and exterior maintenance. November 18th, 2019. Appeal statement received December 7th, requesting for 6 months to abate the violation. Could the owner of the property please state their name for the record?
The owner of
Please
the
unmute
doc,
yourself.
the owner of the dock of the building is Kenneth and Pendoli. Are they present?
We're here. You hear us? Hello?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you're requesting 6 months to complete abatement of the violations. Is that still your request? At this-
We have extended time, Your Honor, because so many squatters in the building.
Would you repeat that, please?
We need time because of the squatter in the building. And when we can go to the building, they point gun on us. So we need more time until these people out by the housing court.
Do you have any idea what that time, you're stating that you have to get the people out?
They said by July 22nd, I have the other book with the other squatter. From there, might be take 10 days for them to move out. The bailiff is going to be there. So and then, yeah, just I need 1 year to do this because this is, too much going on because of the pandemic, and we can't even get them out. It's been a long time now.
We would object to 1 year, Mr. Chairman.
Comments from the city on this? Mr. Hanover?
Mr. Chairman, if you look at the date that the violation notice was issued till today, that was 7 months ago. Understanding that, things have been out of the ordinary, there's still plenty of work to be done or could have been done. This particular location, I mean, if we can pull up the photos of this property.
Rollins, do we have the photos on? Is that what this? And
No, that's not.
Yes.
That's not.
Oh, this one.
These are the photos that I have on this presentation for this property.
Okay,
There's 6103 behind of the building, and now they already put the fence on it.
all that
My
garbage.
property is the one with the black tar on it.
we don't have a picture of that.
Mr. Chairman, those are my photos for my presentation.
Oh, okay. Okay, Mr. Brancatelli, and you have circles, red circles on what? On debris on the property?
That debris isn't on our property. But
If you would like, Mr. Chairman, I could go through my presentation.
Yes. Councilman, proceed.
Yes, Maurice, if you can go to the first slide, which basically is, Mr. Chairman, this property has been a longstanding problem in the community. This is not a recent phenomena. The property is in foreclosure for back taxes according to the county record. Next slide, please.
Next.
I try to make payment with you.
Next slide, please. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This was a long-standing problem. Tenants were driving from the back vacant lot through into the next into their property. They were having parties, et cetera, behind. Next slide, please.
That's why, Your Honor.
There were lots of. This is my turn to speak, ma'am. There were lots of debris. We cleaned up the debris. Next slide, please. slide, please. Next slide, please.
There's a slight delay, Councilman, when I click the next slide.
All right, thank you. So this is some of the debris that was in back of the subject property at 6010 Fleet back in 2019. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Mr. Brancatelli, is this debris still present on the property?
We had crews clean up this debris, Mr. Chairman. So after we cleaned up the debris, we installed a fence to keep their tenants from driving through and to keep from dumping going on. Next slide, please. We actually had a stake and put up trees to keep people from cutting through the vacant lots next to this property to the left, and including having to go back and repair the fence that had been broken through by tenants. Next slide, please. You can see late in the year that the tenants had broken out, and we're still continuing to use this as a cut through. Next slide, please.
What are the posts on that last slide?
Those posts on the last slide was to keep the tenants and the property owner from driving over the vacant lots to the east of their property at 6010 Fleet.
Are you Councilman, are you representing that the city, your people, or your volunteers have been doing all the work and the appellant hasn't done any of the improvements, or let's say picked up any of the debris themselves?
We have been ongoing picking up debris around their property, not on their property. And we've been putting up posts to keep them from driving onto our properties. Mr. Chairman, this is a notice of a complaint filed last year by the tenant. Next slide, please. Mr. Chairman, this is a violation notice from the Health Department. Next slide, please. Mr. Chairman, this complaint, the appeal was filed last year. And as CBO Vanover stated, work could have been done. This has been over 6 months. They had requested 6 months for the appeal. 6 months is long gone. This is the current condition from 2 days ago. They have broken windows. Next slide, please. Broken windows in the staircase going up to the upstairs unit. Next slide, please. This is the current condition from a couple days ago with debris piled up behind the property. Next slide, please. This was from a couple days ago. I actually feel sorry for the cat on the lower right-hand side of the corner, rummaging through the debris over here, and you can see the high grass and weeds. Next slide, please.
Councilman, I think we've seen enough.
Okay. Next slide, please.
That's all I have.
So, Mr. Chairman, this has been an ongoing problem. There's no reason to have the debris lying around. They had time to repair the windows. I've just been notified by the safety director in the police department that an issue, a notice of order for declaration of nuisance has been issued. They will be getting that in the mail. This ongoing problem should not persist. I'm respectfully requesting this be remanded back to Building and Housing. Thank you.
Does the appellant have any further comments? Appellants? Mr. and Mrs. Kreitz, do you have any additional comments at this time before we make our resolution?
Mr. Chairman, I still have comments.
Yes.
We clean up a lot of times. It's not only the city clean up, and the squatter has been more right on the property by the law, which is like put us in this position. We don't able to kick them out. They destroy the building. They're not tenant. The tenant was for the city, like the ticket, because why you they don't pay 6 months, and now the squatter take over. The point gun on us, risk our life. We still have to clean up. We still clean up when they're not around. And the nighttime, like Thursday night, you can throw the garbage. It's not only the city cleaning up. We try to clean it up. When they point gun on us, we call the police. Police do nothing. I'm getting cold. With my situation, my health condition, this is like, it's not right. It's threatening my life, and I can't do anything. These people in this quarter, in this building, throw the garbage everywhere. We cleaning up all the time. That's why I'm behind with my tax. I have no income. I try to make payment, so please help me, God.
I would like to say something. We've been trying to get these people out of this place since November. For some reason, your court won't throw these people out of our houses, and the people are big.
Your comments are breaking up. Mr. Vanover, did you have any additional comments?
Yeah, so Mr. Chairman, I have a couple questions for the appellate. So Mr. Chairman, to the appellate, how long has this tenant been in the property?
December, November? I think November of 19.
You moved them in November of 19, and then you've been trying to get them out since November of 19?
When did they move in? September?
We to call the inspector. I think they moved by November 19, but there's quarter upstairs, and there's quarter in their place right now. So.
Okay, so I didn't really get an answer. Maurice, if you could go back, I would like to show the board that even if these tenants moved in sometime last year, right there, there's a great deal of deferred maintenance on this property. This didn't happen in a year. This is the condensing unit that's rotted and the wires pulled, and it appears to be bootlegged in. That's not the way that's supposed to set there. I can understand if you've got a bad tenant that they're going to make a mess and they're going to bring garbage. But if you could go to the next couple slides, Maurice, you'll see that there's siding beat up and damaged. There's exposed wood on the property. This roof is not maintained. You know, things like this. There's just the general condition of the property did not happen. Even forgetting right here, forgetting the trash bag. You know, you can see the condition of the door is unmaintained. And unpainted. The siding is beat up.
Can I say something? We put 3 new doors on that place. Every time we put a new door on, they bust it down.
This is not a new door.
They don't do anything about it. It's like until those people are out of the building, we're not going to put new doors or new windows or new anything in, because every time we put something in, they bust it down.
We're going to interrupt the testimony.
7 times. And I've showed the police, I had gates upstairs to keep the people out. They tore the gates down and they broke in. And if you look on that, if you look at that picture on the roof, you see that orange cord? That's the people from the first floor and power down to the waters on the 2nd floor.
They've been temporarily electric there 3 times.
Yeah, if you call the electric company, if you call the electric company, you'll find out who paid their electric bill in 8 months. But they still have power for some reason. If you guys would just shut the power off and shut the water off, hopefully those people would get the hell out. But
all right, we're gonna stop the testimony at this time.
Mr. Beck, go ahead. Please, everybody, take a second.
A motion is in order to no longer prevent the city of Cleveland from enforcing appropriate action, and we're going to refuse the request for additional time and remand the property at this time to the Division of Building Housing for supervision and any required further action. Motion so in order.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Bradley, second.
Second. Gallagher.
I objected to it.
Call the roll, please.
we can't do anything there till those people are out of the building.
If you can help us put them out, we can take care of it. But if the people there, I don't want me get shot. You guys don't care about my life. The police don't care about my life. They put gun. They point gun on.
Miller, call the roll, please.
Bradley? Bradley?
Yes.
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 That concludes the hearing on docket A 375-19.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, which docket should we begin at the top and start down?
We're gonna go back to the top and start down. We ask that if you're not giving testimony, you're getting a lot of feedback. If you're not giving testimony, please mute.
Next docket A 297-19, 3726 Clark Avenue. Introduce the docket, Madam Secretary.
Application and fees are in order. Violation is condemnation of the main structure. Issue September 18. Appeal statement received October 4th, 2019. Time to abate the violations. Present for the hearing. Mr. Mahan Ruiz, is he present? We have Patty Ashton for
Ruiz, are you
building
here?
and house.
Mr. Riaz? Is Mr. Riaz present? We'll proceed with another docket. Or do we wish, is he, Madam Secretary, has he indicated that he would be present?
I have, he has not tried to contact me. Has been returned in regards to him not receiving the notification.
Here it
This
is.
was originally
Noting
scheduled
that,
in January.
okay, we're noting that this is a condemnation. And so we'll hear the docket because history indicates that he will not probably be here.
Okay,
So this
so
is a
let me
notice.
finish acknowledging everyone.
Thank you.
1 second. So we're going to acknowledge that the appellant is, we have representative from Building and Housing here. Patricia Ashton, Housing, Tom Vanover, Chief Building Official. No councilman is present for presentation. You may proceed.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or pictures? Do we have any evidence?
Vanover has his hand raised.
Swear him in, please.
Thank you. Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I do.
Proceed.
Preliminarily, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Vanover, the city objects to the 1 year. And thank you, Ms. Davis, you were going in and out. I apologize between Ms. Davis and Chairman Dank. I know, Ms. Davis, you stated about the mailings and then you went in and out between Mr. Dank. So I'm just going to do my note, the normal that I usually do in the hearings, Mr. Chairman, because the appellant is not on the line. Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, has the board's file indicate any returned mailing of notice of this virtual WebEx hearing to the board's file regarding this docket A297-19 on property 3726 Clark? To Ms. Davis, if it was returned.
No, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It appears that, Mr. Chairman, it appears the board has mailed as required under the law notice of this WebEx virtual hearing. Ms. Davis has stated that she did not receive any contact from the appellant. In addition, that no mailing has been returned to the board's file. Therefore, this board has been properly notifying to this appellant. I would also point to the board, the appeal statement in which the appellant admits to this board he has many properties, and he basically admits he has no money regarding this. I would defer to Mr. Vanover with specific testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Vanover?
Mr. Chairman, so if you can advance to the next slide, we've got photographs. This is a condemnation of a former gas station, which is of course a hazardous use because it's a gas station. You can see the condition of the property has been neglected for some time. Even currently, this picture was taken last week. There's still graffiti. It's half boarded up. And go to the next slide. Based on the appeal statement and the neglect from the owner, we would ask that you deny and remand this back to the Department of Building and Housing so that we can enforce the action required to get this hazard, this abandoned gas station removed. There's more photos if we can go through them.
Those are the only two photos I have for this one.
Okay, I apologize. So, yeah, the inside looks like the outside. I mean, it's all torn apart, and
Thank you.
If you're not speaking, please mute your microphone. We have Mr. Gallagher with his hand raised.
Yes. A question for Mr. Vanover. Are there any tanks underground there that you know of?
we're assuming that there are because there's no evidence that they've been removed.
Okay, thank you.
Once we get to that position, we're hoping to enforce the law so that the owner rectifies the situation, so that we do not have to, the citizens of the city of Cleveland will not be have to bear the cost of mitigating this because there are tanks. We will begin, we'll begin a conversation with Buster for the underground storage tanks and for the local hazmat before we take action. But our hope is that the owner takes responsibility for the property.
All right, I think we're ready on this one, we're ready for a resolution. The motion is in order to deny the request for additional time and to remand the property to the Division of Building Housing for supervision and required further action.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bradley,
Second.
second by Mr. Maskey. Call the roll, please. Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
Maskey,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Gallagher.
Yes.
That completes docket A29719. Next docket A35719, 2163 East 78th Street. A lead violation and requesting 6 months to abate the violation. Is the appellant for that docket present?
Yes, sir, I am. Good morning.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
May we hear your plan? And 6 months seems like quite a long time for the lead abatement.
Mr. Bradley, I'm gonna need you to slow down. We have to have Tom Vanover and acknowledge Patty for the record.
Solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Proceed, please. Our last request was to have the appellant state why he needed more time than seems reasonable.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me 1 second. If you're not speaking, please mute your microphone. Those of you that are using your cell phones to call in, we can hear you talking in the background. It's very disruptive to the meeting. Please mute your microphones if you're not speaking. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Ms. Hammond.
Not a problem, sir. The reason why I was requesting additional time is with the city and the lead abatement, this is a new process for me, so I really didn't understand it. Then right as we were getting ready to start the process and just get some additional information, you know, COVID, so just down. If I can get additional 6 months, even 3 months, now that things are up and moving a little bit more, I can, potentially even get a program or work with the city some type of way to get things done. Because again, this is new to me. Not sure the responsibility, just don't know exactly what to do.
Have you made contact with anyone to get that information?
I called a couple companies to get the, to speak with the lead abatement, and to go through the process. This is a very expensive process. And again, just based on some of the minor quotes, it's like almost $1,200 to get the abater to come in, and then another $500 or $600 to get the certifier to come in. And just financially, like I said, with COVID coming, it just kind of all hit at the wrong time. So now that things are moving back, if I can get a couple extra months, whatever you guys consider to be feasible or reasonable, just to make the adjustments. I had planned on if I could get, I understand there's a couple of programs through where I can work with my tenants to possibly get new windows. The building is like 100-plus-year-old building. I apologize for the phone ringing in the background. But I'm just an older building, and it just needs windows. It needs all of the minimal things that I can do in my knowledge of lead abatement. So just looking for a little extra time and some assistance and guidance and any type of financial. Have anything that you recommend?
Mr. Vanover, do you have a response for that?
I do, Mr. Chairman. A couple of questions first, Mr. Chairman, to the appellant. Is the property still occupied? Is there still people living there?
Yes, sir.
And so this is a two-family. How many apartments are in here?
4.
There's 4.
And the unit in question, of course, is a tenant issue, which was brought to you guys' attention. And when you go through, I guess, and do the other violation inspection, now based on the city's rules, lead inspection is part of that, which is how it came up. So again, the lead part is just a new and kind of overwhelming process. It's just financially, it's just expensive. It's just extremely expensive. And with COVID, it kind of shut me down financially. I'm just making ends meet. Now that things are up and moving, I can get people to come in. The inspectors won't even come to the building. So now I can potentially get someone to come in and help. So again, if I can get a couple extra months, whatever you guys feel is reasonable, I would appreciate it. And I'll work with you guys to get whatever I need to get done.
So, Mr. Chairman, to the appellant, and I'll say the same thing I always say. It's a lot easier for you and for us if the building is maintained along the way. And then we do our lead inspection without a problem. So there is a responsibility, especially with the 4th Street apartment building, that this is done prior to the inspection. I do have a concern because I'm hearing 2 things. I'm hearing, one, that it's a time thing because the availability of folks during the pandemic was difficult. But I'm also hearing that there's a financial issue. So, this is a business, and there's an expectation when you have, especially a 4th Street apartment building, that you collect rent to pay the bills, but you also have a reserve of funds for any unforeseen circumstances or foreseen maintenance of the property. So I'm a little concerned about the financial aspect. We don't object to 3 months to completely abate the violations. And we're just going to assume that we will figure out what to pay for it.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Vanover, your comment was that 3 months seemed a reasonable time to you because it seems reasonable to us. A motion is in order to grant the appellant until October 1st, 2020 to complete abatement of the violations. Motion so in order.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Bentley.
All right, thank you. And if, Ms. Davis, if, I know you gave me.
Second by Mr. Gallagher.
What's that?
Second by
Or did you second?
Call the roll, please.
Hold on, Ms. Hammonds.
Yes.
Gallagher,
You got it, Gallagher? You're calling the roll. We're not hearing the roll.
Did you hear Gallagher?
okay, now I heard Mr. Gallagher. Maskey,
Yes.
Yes. That completes docket A 35719. Thank you.
Hammonds, did you have another comment?
Yes, I just had a question for Ms. Davis. Is it possible for you to mail me out any literature that you guys have as it relates to the lead abatement process? And I understand that you guys used to have classes for the tenants, for the landlords. Are you guys still having those classes? Are they available online? And if so, would you please either email or mail me some additional information so I can get this done?
There is just for information, there are links on the City of Cleveland Department of Public Health. They have links on lead and lead assessors and lead abatement, and any programs that there may exist would also be linked from the Cleveland Department of Public Health webpage.
Okay, thank you so very much, sir. I appreciate your time and your patience. And when I see you guys again, hopefully everything is done.
Good luck. Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a blessed day. Can I get off? Can I sign off now? Do I have to?
Okay, we're completing that docket. Next dockets, we're going to introduce these 3 dockets because it's the same appellant, all at the same time. Docket A 36519, which is 11110 Detroit Avenue. Docket A 36619, 11114 Detroit Avenue, and docket A 36719, 11118 Detroit Avenue. The appellant is Brenda Elner. Is she present?
Present.
Okay.
also present for the hearing, Tom Vanover, Patricia Ashton Law. Application of fees are in order. Notice of violations on all 3 structures is interior and exterior. Issued on November 19, 2019. Statements received December 11, 2019, requesting for abate the violations.
Swearing all
Proceed.
who are going to make statements solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. And may we hear from the appellant and her reason for requesting 9 months for maintenance issues. We'll hear docket A36519, 11110 Detroit Avenue first, and then make inquiries about the other two. Brenda Elner, what are you prepared to start and finish the abatement of the violations on that project? Within how many months? Is she prepared to give testimony? Miss Elner?
Can you hear me?
Just not.
We can hear you.
Okay. Yes, the property, all three are considered together, even though they're different. They're 60 apartment units. We have made them into a place working with the State Department where at least half of our tenants are refugees who have worked for America in foreign countries, and then the United States has taken them out. We've been very proud to do this, and we have worked hard to develop a community there that we're proud of and Cleveland should be proud of. We don't have problems with in particular with any crime. We have people who take care of each other, but we also have moved into the COVID period. And while I'm listening overall to people and inspectors saying that the pandemic is over, it is definitely not over. I have 3 children who are in my house right now who are doctors, and they're so afraid for what's coming. So basically what we did was we divided up how we're going to take care of things. We began with taking care of some of the exterior things, and we will finish that from now until the winter. So we will have the exterior violations taken care of. We will also already have taken care of the interior boiler rooms. But related to the apartments themselves, our people, we've had several cases of coronavirus. Our property manager will speak about this because our tenants will not let us into their apartments, and the reality is they shouldn't. And so what we are asking for, quite frankly, is a period of time after the vaccine has been developed. And Tony Fauci is a personal friend of mine. He thinks we're going to have it by the January for total administration to all of us, but who knows? So our feeling is we really can't get into the apartments to do the appropriate changes other than the first request was making sure everyone had the new updated smoke alarms. But basically, it's a safety issue, and we're taking it very seriously. I personally have not been in my office there, and I'm there every day. We almost work like a social service agency. We help people. We have English for second language kinds of things. We have the children have a total community, but I'm 75 and I'm high risk, so I can't even go into my apartment. So very blessedly, Jeanette Hubbard, who's about to speak and tell you what we've been doing, and you can see some of the pictures, has taken over totally the whole management of the 60-unit apartment building. So I'm going to turn it over to her. So Jeanette should be the next person who speaks.
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay. Now we've accomplished several things, but like the soffits, the patio ceilings, tucking in the bricks, some of the gutters and downspouts, those are going to get done between July 15th and September 30th when we have a lift truck here. We rented it for that period. The redo of the apartment is depending on the tenants we have because they are refugees. They won't let us in unless there's an absolute emergency. Currently, we're working on the common areas, the halls. The laundry rooms are all done. The boiler rooms are done.
What, may I ask, what is the nature of the interior renovations or updates you have? Is there any safety hazards in them?
No.
Mr. Chairman, can you verify that the property manager was also sworn in? Thank you.
I presume I said everyone that giving testimony is considered sworn in. Does that do it? Pardon me?
I said yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. To an answer to my question is and I forget what my question was. You're going to fix all the exterior stuff and the boilers. Maybe we need a comment from Mr. Vanover.
You're gonna have it in interior.
So, Mr. Chairman, a couple of things I want to point out. This violation notice was written. Dr. Frosty.
Mr. Vanover, we're having a hard time hearing you for some reason. Your microphone is cutting out.
Yes,
is this better?
Yes, much better.
Okay. So this was written pre-COVID. Like I said, I am Dr. Frosty is not a personal friend of mine. Looking for a vaccine of some time, someday is not acceptable. This work, as I've said previously, the building owner has a responsibility to maintain the building before we get there. It appears that, and although I appreciate your mandate and the work that you do, I don't know how it's funding model that with this work, and this is a business, and there's an expectation that this stuff was fixed before we did it, before we got there, before we inspected. So now that this thing that the COVID pandemic is going on, I, as the chief building official, never said that it was over. But so I don't know what the reference to statements that the inspector is saying that the pandemic is over. I've never said that. There are safety measures and there are requirements as building owners that you have to maintain, and it should have been done before. So I understand where we are now, but this particular picture that we're focused on, there's no reason why that should not have. I mean, that should have been completed. That didn't happen since March 14th, when COVID hit, or hit the coronavirus hit the United States. So I understand the reluctance from your tenant, but simply leaving the building in the interior portions with holes in the floors and there's drywall issues and leaking issues. You have a right as a landlord to gain entry to the property for the purposes of repairing it. Our expectation, I will say one more time, was that this was done prior to us inspecting. Now that we've inspected and we cited, you still have that same responsibility. So waiting for a date that may or may never come is unacceptable. We would ask that you deny any more time and remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing. There's this photograph here. There's substantial work that needs done on this building, and it's simply because it's been neglected. So from our perspective, I don't have a comfort level that waiting until some uncertain date that the work is actually going to get done. So there's some serious issues like the cracks in the exterior facade, but those have also related themselves to issues inside. So we would ask that you deny any more time. I think this building's been neglected and could have been in much better shape than it is, especially because of the clientele and the tenancy that you have. They don't deserve to live this way any more than anybody else. So we would ask that you deny any more time, remand it back to the Department of Building and Housing, none of which prevents the owner from maintaining their responsibility to keep a building maintained.
May I speak?
Thank you, Mr. Vanover.
May I speak?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry if I offended you in any way relating to what we're worried about with the pandemic. But the truth is that we had a lot of violations, and the truth is that our tenants have, in the past that we've had, have destroyed the issues inside. We never put anyone into an apartment when it isn't picture perfect. But when they destroy it because they're learning how to live in America, we actually even have to teach them how to turn a stove on and how to do various things. So while I'm certainly aware that we must provide a wonderful living environment, no, we do not get any subsidy for any of this. This is really my personal quest. But related to that, when the building inspector came out, he very nicely said to us, request 9 more months because you have a lot of things to do and the building department is understanding that this is going to take a while and you'll get it all done because you're determined. So I would request 9 months from now if you feel that way. And I guess I'll just have to have people dressed appropriately for the pandemic and give people 24 hours, notice that we're going to go in and we'll take care of just about anything that has to be done. But I think it would be fair to do that based on the fact that November to March is a very short period of time to take care of the number of requests we had. The pandemic stopped us, period. This is really a challenge, but we will do it. So I would respectfully request 9 months from today, if that would be possible. Thank you.
Well, we have to make these decisions on every case, and we're going to compromise between you and the city. And a motion is in order to grant the appellant until November 1st, 2019 to complete 2020 to complete abatement of the violations. Motion so in order.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bradley, second by Mr. Maskey. Call the roll, please. Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
Yes.
We haven't heard the roll call.
He said yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Bradley said yes. Danks says yes.
Gallagher,
Gallagher.
Mr. Gallagher, there's a lot of background noise on your microphone. That's why we're having a hard time hearing you.
There's background noise here? There's nothing going on here. Yes, is my response. If you could relay that on, I'd appreciate it.
I hear you.
Okay, now, docket, we will introduce docket A 366-19, 11114 Detroit Avenue. A motion is in order to grant the appellant until November 1st, 2020 to complete abatement of violations. Motion so in order.
So move.
Motion, Mr. Bradley.
Yes.
Second by Mr. Maskey. Call the roll, please.
Yes. Yes.
Dank.
Yes.
For docket A 367-19, 11118 Detroit Avenue, a motion is ordered to grant the appellant until November 1st, 2020 to complete abatement of the violations. Motion so in order.
So move.
Motion, Mr. Bradley, second by Mr. Maskey. Call the roll, please.
Yes.
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 Gallagher,
Gallagher said yes.
Okay, next dockets are also three, one owner. Is that owner present, Madam Secretary, that for Hats 2 LLC?
Mr. Dink, I had heard nothing from this, so I don't believe they are present.
And does the condition, Mr. Vanover, does the condition, well, let's hear the docket. And
Mr. Chairman, preliminarily, as Ms. Davis has stated, this is Patricia McGinty Aston, City of Cleveland Law Department, on behalf of the Building Department for, I presume you're calling A370-19 and A371-19 together, Mr. Chairman?
And A369-19 also.
Oh, thank you. In A369-19. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Ms. Davis had indicated she had not heard from the appellant. I will do my preliminary inquiry. Ms. Davis, Mr. Chairman, to Ms. Davis, does the board's file indicate any return of notice for today's WebEx hearing, return for any reason whatsoever to the board file on these three dockets? To Ms. Davis.
No mail has been returned.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, it appears as the previous one where no appellant appeared, the board sent out notice as required by law, and no one had contacted Ms. Davis, and the board's notice on these three dockets not having been returned to the board's file. This board has service to proceed with today's hearing regarding these three matters and can so proceed accordingly. Everything else I will defer to Mr. Vanover regarding the city. Thank you. If you swear him in first. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is docket A369-19, 2642 Northmoreland Boulevard. And we will also introduce dockets A371 and 370-19 subsequently. All giving testimony, solemnly swear or affirm the comments you're about to make are the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. And we would like to hear from Mr. Vanover regarding the condition of these properties.
Mr. Chairman, in their appeal statement, I think they actually said that there is roughly 6 people in this complex. We have 3 cases on our docket today. The next docket, which I believe is July 8th, they have several other properties in this complex, several other units in this complex that have violation notices. So we will be revisiting this in 2 weeks. This is a very large complex. There's a combination of interior, exterior maintenance notices, notices within the individual units, and there's also lead violations in the in these 2, and the ones that we're going to be seeing. We would ask that you remand this. This is a very large business. It surprises me that they're not able to attend today because this is not some homeowner owned property. This is not that, homeowners aren't perfectly capable. They obviously are. We've seen that already today. This is a major enterprise that we received several complaints about because of the provenance.
Breaking up.
Somebody's typing with their microphone on. So this is a large complex with several violations. They should have a systematic maintenance problem so that the city of Cleveland citizens don't have to pay the building department to walk through and tell them what's wrong. And they have a responsibility to maintain their property. We ask that you deny it and remand it back to us with the understanding that we're going to see more of these in 2 weeks. Hopefully the appellate shows up and we can move from there.
Thank you. there is no reason not to remand it to the city because the appellant is not defending the condition of these properties, and they do look like they should be in good condition. It's a nice looking array of units. For docket, a motion is in order to remand the property at 2642 North Moreland Boulevard to the Division Building and Housing.
So move.
Any required further action? Motion by Mr. Gallagher. Roll, please. What is the interference?
I can't figure out who it's coming from.
Me either.
Virtually everybody is muted.
Mr. Dink, I didn't hear the motion call. I got, was a second.
Right. The motion was by Mr. Gallagher, second Mr. Bradley, and call the roll, please. Call the roll, please. Maskey.
Yes.
Bradley,
Yes.
Yes.
Docket A370 1926 North Moreland Boulevard. A motion is ordered to remand the property division building housing for supervision and any required further action. So in order.
So move.
Motion, Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Second, Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Bradley,
Yes.
Yes. That concludes that.
That's it.
Docket A371 1926 22 North Moreland Boulevard. A motion is ordered to grant the to remand the property division and building housing for supervision and any required further action. Motion so in order.
So move. Second.
Motion by Mr. Bradley, second by Mr. Maskey.
Maskey,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Gallagher,
And the final docket. That concludes the docket. And the final docket is A 419 152 22 Macaulay Avenue. Is the appellant for that docket? Have they responded and are they present?
the appellant has responded. Issues with trying to get onto this WebEx link. And he's in a completely different time zone. I have been emailing him back and forth throughout this process, and he still has not responded back.
Let's offer this to that. He's asking for 30 days. That's a reasonable request for anything, and let's take action on it.
Mr. Chairman, preliminarily, Mr. Chairman, may I inquire of Ms. Davis if she's received a letter of authority from the agent for the owner regarding the actual owner, trustee land trust? Thank you.
Those are the pictures for the.
So if you can hang on while Ms. Davis checks your file, Mr. Chairman, I want to verify on top of the issue with him being able to get in, which is a due process issue, I need to verify with Ms. Davis that this board has the proper letter of authority to proceed. Thank you.
Ms. Davis, did you hear the question?
I do have a statement, but it is not. And it is signed by the, not the owner. So no, I do not have a statement from the trustee given.
Thank you, Ms. Davis, because that is actually important. So this board does not actually have the authority by the property owner. And it might just be getting a letter to Ms. Davis, as we've seen in the past with other matters, getting it notice to the property owner to get authority for this agent, Mr. Shand, to proceed. On top of that, coupling with that, with the issue of him not being able to get onto this WebEx hearing as the purported agent, I would suggest you continue this matter and not actually proceed until you have the authority, and then you can go ahead and proceed under that. Thank you. We shouldn't be proceeding in this matter.
Okay, then we will schedule this in the future and approve and proceed to the approval of the resolutions.
Mr. Chairman? If we are going to continue this to another meeting, we should also encourage the appellant, since he only needs 30 days, to work towards completion, and maybe we can then dismiss this.
Good question, good comment, and we'll ask the secretary to make the appellant aware of that. And now we'll approval of resolutions. And I will read the resolutions by number. The numbers are all preceded by an A and a 19 indicating the year. And the following dockets by number are A 37, 344, 346, 350, 352, 355, 216, 240, 334, 335, 336, 340, 341, 345, 343, 347, 349, 353, 354, and 356-19. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, motion for approval as submitted.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Ashke?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Gallagher?
Gallagher. Okay, the next approval of minutes of March 4th, 2020. Any additions or corrections? Motion for approval as submitted. Motion.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Bradley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gallagher. Call the roll, please.
Maskey?
Yes.
Maskey?
Yes. Continue. Maskey approved.
And Gallagher?
Yes.
Any further official business? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.
Okay, I can close out.
Yes, that
Yes.
concludes the meeting. Thank you.